Hey everybody! Welcome back to Busy Arc, your one stop to more knowledge, and let me tell you, today we are going deep. We're talking about China, which is a country that, like most countries, has some pretty interesting laws. But China's, well, let's just say they're unique. You won't believe some of the things that are illegal there. We're talking things that seem totally normal in most of the world. Things you might even be doing right now. So buckle up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because things are about to get weird. Okay, first up, Facebook. You know, that website your aunt uses to share pictures of her cat? Yeah, that's a big no-no in China. It's been completely blocked since 2009. And it's not just Facebook, we're talking Instagram, Twitter, you name it. China has its own versions of these platforms like WeChat and Weibo, which are super popular. The thing is, these homegrown apps, they're heavily monitored by the government. And that brings us to one of the main reasons behind these bans: censorship. China's government has very strict controls over the information its citizens can access. They want to prevent the spread of what they deem as harmful or sensitive content. So, if you're planning a trip to China and can't imagine life without your daily dose of memes, you might want to download a VPN. But even those are kind of a legal gray area in China, which brings us to... Remember that VPN I just mentioned? Yeah, you'll need it if you want to use Google in China, because the land of a billion searches? They don't use Google. Instead, they have Baidu. And while Baidu is a search engine, it's not quite the Google experience you're probably used to. For starters, a lot of the results are tailored to Chinese websites and services. But the bigger issue is, again, censorship. Google's search results are filtered to comply with Chinese regulations, which means you might not be getting the full picture. And it's not just search, we're talking Gmail, Google Maps, even Google Docs, all blocked or heavily restricted. So if you rely on Google services, be prepared to embrace the local alternatives. Twitter, the land of hot takes and even hotter arguments, is another casualty in China's internet crackdown. Banned since 2009, Twitter is persona non grata for its potential to, you guessed it, spread information the government doesn't like. See, China's government is all about control, and a platform where people can freely share their opinions, especially about sensitive topics. Yeah, that's not really their style, so what do people in China use instead of Twitter? Well, Weibo is kind of like their version of it. It's microblogging, but with a healthy dose of censorship. But here's the thing, even though Twitter is blocked, it still plays a role in Chinese society. Activists and dissidents outside of China use it to share information and raise awareness about issues within the country. If you're a fan of cat videos, makeup tutorials, or, educational content like this, then you're probably a YouTube enthusiast. But in China, YouTube is about as welcome as a panda in a bamboo shortage. That's right, YouTube has been blocked in China since 2009. And that means no access to the vast library of videos that we in the rest of the world take for granted. Instead, China has its own video sharing platforms like Youku and Bilibili, which are hugely popular. But again, these platforms are subject to strict censorship regulations. So if you're a content creator hoping to break into the Chinese market, you'll need to find another way. Because YouTube, as we know it, simply doesn't exist there. Instagram, the land of perfectly curated lives and even more perfectly filtered photos, is another no-go in China. Banned since 2014, Instagram is seen as a threat to, you guessed it, social stability. See, China's government is very concerned about the influence of Western culture, and a platform where people can share their lavish lifestyles and aspirational travel photos, yeah, that doesn't really jive with their message of socialist harmony. So, what do people in China use instead of Instagram? Well, they have their own version called Little Red Book, which is all about, you guessed it, shopping and showcasing your perfectly curated life. But here's the thing, even though Instagram is blocked, it still has a presence in China. Luxury brands and international celebrities use it to connect with Chinese consumers who access the platform through, you guessed it, VPNs. So, by now you're probably wondering, how do people in China even access the internet if everything is blocked? Well, that's where VPNs come in. VPNs, or virtual private networks, are like secret tunnels that allow you to bypass internet censorship. They mask your IP address and make it look like you're browsing from a different location, like, say, the United States. But here's the catch. VPNs are kind of a legal gray area in China. While they're not technically illegal for personal use, the government has been cracking down on them in recent years. So if you're planning to use a VPN in China, be discreet. And be prepared for the possibility that it might not work, or that you might get in trouble for using it. Chapter 7. Gambling, don't bet on it, unless you're in Macau. Gambling, the pastime of choice for risk-takers and those who believe in luck, is strictly prohibited in mainland China. And we're not just talking about casinos, we're talking about any form of gambling, even playing mahjong for money with your friends. Why is China so anti-gambling? Well, they see it as a social ill that can lead to addiction, crime, and family breakdown. Plus, they're not exactly fans of activities that are difficult to control, but there is one glaring exception to China's gambling ban: Macau. This special administrative region, known as the Las Vegas of Asia, is a gambler's paradise where casinos rake in billions of dollars each year. So, if you're feeling lucky, Macau is the place to be. Just don't try to bring your winnings back to the mainland. That's a surefire way to get in trouble. Chapter 8. Unapproved maps, getting lost in translation and politics. Maps, those seemingly innocuous tools for navigation, are a surprisingly sensitive issue in China. You see, China has some, shall we say, disputed territorial claims, and they're very particular about how those claims are depicted on maps. So, if you're planning to bring a map to China, make sure it aligns with the government's official stance. Otherwise, you could find yourself in hot water. We're talking confiscation, fines, and even detention. But it's not just physical maps that are subject to scrutiny. Online maps, like Google Maps, are also carefully monitored and censored to ensure they comply with Chinese regulations. So next time you're using a map, take a moment to appreciate the geopolitical complexities that go into those seemingly simple lines and borders. Chapter 9. Jasmine, the flower that could topple a government, maybe jasmine, the delicate white flower known for its sweet fragrance, might seem like an unlikely target for government censorship. But in China, even flowers can be political. You see, jasmine became a symbol of protest during the 2011 Jasmine Revolution in Tunisia. And China, always wary of anything that could spark unrest, decided to nip that symbolism in the bud, so to speak. So, what does a jasmine ban actually look like? Well, it varies. Sometimes it's as simple as removing jasmine flowers from public spaces or banning their sale. Other times it's more subtle, like censoring online discussions about jasmine or deleting social media posts that feature the flower. It might seem strange, but in China, even something as seemingly innocuous as a flower can be a threat to the powers that be. Chapter 10. Time travel banned, because the present is tricky enough. Okay, this one might sound like I'm making it up, but I promise you, it's real. Time travel, the plot device of countless science fiction stories, is actually banned in Chinese media. Yep, you heard that right. No Doctor Who, no Back to the Future, no time-traveling shenanigans allowed. And the reason? Well, it's a bit complicated. Officially, the Chinese government says that time travel promotes feudalism, superstition, fatalism, and reincarnation. Basically, they're worried that it messes with people's understanding of history and their place in society. But some people speculate that the ban is also about control. If you can control the narrative of the past, you can control the narrative of the present. And in a country like China, where history is often rewritten, that's a powerful tool. So, next time you're watching a time travel movie, take a moment to appreciate the fact that you live in a country where you can at least imagine the possibility of traveling through time, even if it's just in your mind. Outro, stay curious, stay informed. So, there you have it. 10 surprising things you probably didn't know were illegal in China. It's a different world out there with different rules and different ways of looking at things. Thanks for watching. If you found these facts surprising, make sure to like and subscribe for more interesting content. And let me know in the comments which fact surprised you the most. Was it the Facebook ban, the Jasmine crackdown, or maybe the time travel prohibition? Let's discuss.